All right. This just came out. There's a complaint filed the Securities and Exchange Commission against some executives and Silvergate Capital Corporation. This is all involved with FTX, and the allegation is that Alan Lane, Kathleen Frere, and Antonio Martino violated their duties under the Bank Secrecy Act. Let's take a look and see what lessons are available for you in what just happened. First, what's your responsibility under the BSA? It is to have a trained and adequately supported BSA officer who is there to assess risks, establish policies and procedures, train your people, audit, and monitor transactions, and when necessary to file suspicious activity reports. The board is to be informed of this, and they're to be involved in these major decisions. So let's see what happened here with Alan J. Lane, Kathleen Frere. First, it's alleged here in paragraph 1 that they made false or misleading statements and material omissions. It's said that Lane and Frere misrepresented the operational and legal risks facing Silvergate Bank. Specifically here in paragraph 3, it said the bank failed to adequately or automatically monitor for suspicious activity of approximately $1 trillion in banking transactions. And in paragraph 4, it says that Lane nevertheless issued misleading statements to the investing public that the compliance program was adequate. Let's take a look at these two executives. We see in paragraph 18, it's alleged Alan Lane is 62 and was Silvergate's CEO, and Kathleen Frere was 45, and she served in a number of roles: BSA compliance officer, the COO, and at one point served as the chief risk officer. Now, in paragraph 42 and 43, the SEC kind of takes to school Silvergate and gives them a little lecture on the Federal Reserve's supervisory processes assess whether banks have established the appropriate policies, procedures, and processes commensurate with their individual BSA AML risk. And then it says, in general, a bank's BSA compliance program must be tailored to the bank's size, complexity, organizational structure. Thus, for example, bank transaction monitoring system used to identify, research, and report suspicious activity should be risk-based. All right. So this is the responsibility, and they're lecturing them here on just exactly what their duty was under the BSA. So, as you would expect, some examinations were done, some audits were done, and here in paragraph 80, we find that these executives were informed of the results of these audits in April of 2022 and November of 2022, respectively. Lane and Frere were informed the compliance program was critically deficient and needed improvement. So here we are, they're aware that things aren't sufficient, they aren't adequate. Paragraph 83, Lane and Frere understood the seriousness of these weaknesses. Then, in this day and age we live in, what do we find? We find on paragraph 122 that they're online making statements in LinkedIn and Twitter. Alan Lane wrote a letter to our customers, and it included this language. Our business starts by knowing our customers, their business, and the activity they plan to conduct at our institution. Once we approve a new customer, if the activity and their account does not match the activity we expect, based on our initial approval, we take immediate action up to and including terminating the relationship. No exceptions. The U.S. Bank Secrecy Act requires us to develop a robust compliance and risk management program. It's a responsibility that we take very seriously. And then in paragraph 123, the SEC writes the above statement was false. So here it's alleged that executives knew and didn't admit knowing that their program was not sufficient. I don't know what the facts of this are. This is in the allegation and the complaint. I make no conclusions here. I'm just telling you what the SEC alleges and what are the lessons that you need to take away from this complaint? The lessons you need to take away from this complaint are that you need to be on top of what these obligations are. You need to know that you have to monitor your transactions, know your customers, develop policies and procedures, see that they're employed, audit this stuff. If you get remediations, do them. If you are told that something is deficient, get on it. And for God's sake, don't announce through Twitter or your Instagram account that everything's terrific. You've got this duty to make sure that your institution is adequately fulfilling their obligations under the BSA AML framework. As a board member, as a senior executive, are you aware of what your risks are? Are you aware of how you could be exposed through the fraudulent actions of borrowers or other counterparties in this industry that might seek to defraud you or launder money through your institution? Make sure that you're properly informed of these things. Make sure that you've got the training necessary, and make sure that your BSA officer is adequately supported, and you'll avoid this kind of problem that we're seeing in Silvergate.